So two senior gentlemen are working at a sewage treatment plant. One guy goes off to lunch and comes back to find his buddy standing above a vat of sewage with a long rake. "What are you doing?" he yells. "My coat fell in," his buddy yells back. "You're not really going to wear that again, are you?" his friend said, worriedly. No, gosh, no," says the old man, to the relief of his friend. "I have to get it back, though. My teeth are in the pocket." The preacher, in his Sunday sermon, used "forgive your enemies" as his subject. After a long sermon, he asked how many were willing to forgive their enemies. About half held up their hands. Not satisfied, he harangued for another 20 minutes and repeated his question. This time he received a response of about 80%. Still unsatisfied, he lectured for another 15 minutes and repeated his question. With all thoughts now on Sunday dinner, all responded except one elderly lady in the rear. "Mrs. Jones, are you not willing to forgive your enemies?" "I don't have any." "Mrs. Jones, that is very unusual. How old are you?" 93. "Mrs. Jones, please come down in front and tell the congregation how a person can live to be 93 and not have an enemy in the world." The little sweetheart of a lady tottered down the aisle, very slowly turned around and said, "It's easy. I just outlived the bastards." So there was once a very prim and proper older lady who had a problem with passing gas. Since she came from a generation when people didn't even talk about this kind of problem, it took a long time for her to seek help. Finally, however, she was persuaded to consult her family doctor. After she filled out all the proper forms and had waited about 20 minutes in the waiting room, the doctor called her into her office, leaned back in her chair, folded her hands into a steeple, and asked her how she could help. "Doctor," she said, "I have a very bad gas problem. Yesterday afternoon, I had lunch with the Secretary of State and his wife and had 6 silent gas emissions. Last night, I had dinner with the governor and his wife and had 4 silent gas emissions. Then while sitting in your waiting room, I had 5 silent gas emissions. Doctor, you've got to help me. What can we do?" "Well, Margaret," said the doctor, raising her voice, "I think the first thing we're going to do is to give you a hearing test." So an old man goes to the doctor for his annual head-to-toe checkup. The doctor comes in with a folder full of test results and says, "I've got 2 major concerns." The old man says, "Okay, doc, let's hear it." Doctor says, "Well, as you know, we rent a full-body MRI, and we discovered that most of your major organs are riddled with cancer." "Oh no," the old man exclaims. "And there's more," the doctor says. "Unfortunately, yes, with your age and lifestyle, you're also showing pretty advanced signs of Alzheimer's." The old man says, "Wow, that's a lot to take in, but at least it's not cancer." So a lady was standing outside a brothel in a small town, saw a 70-plus-year-old man walking past. She hasn't had a customer for a while, so she whistles at him and says, "Hey, would you like to have some fun time with me?" The old man said, "But I won't be able to." "Come on, man, give it a try," she says. Old man says, "Okay." They go in. The moment they get to the bed, the old-timer becomes a machine and makes passionate love to her an hour straight. When he's done, the lady catches her breath, exhausted and tired. She says, "But you said you won't be able to pay you," completed the old man. A TV crew decides to visit a 100-year-old man living alone in a cabin in the woods. When they go there, they see he is chopping wood and carrying it all by himself. He is active and healthy and has a body of a 40-year-old man. They ask him, "What is your secret?" And the old man tells them a story. 70 years ago, there was a huge blizzard that came out of nowhere. It was winter, but it wasn't too cold for a week, and it was only lightly snowing when suddenly the wind started blowing and the snowing intensified. I went outside to call my dog when I barely saw a weak light coming from the woods. Surely someone got lost and was now trying to find a way to safety. I started calling for my dog, but I knew the lost person would hear me. Sure enough, the light started getting stronger and stronger until finally I could see a silhouette of a man holding a flashlight. When he came close enough, I ran to help him. You couldn't see more than 20 feet, and I didn't want to risk getting myself lost as well. I helped the man get inside the cabin, and my dog ran in few seconds later. I closed the door with great difficulty because the wind was blowing so hard. I then helped the man get his jacket and boots off and sat him next to the fireplace. The man was in shock, but without injuries. I poured both of us a glass of whiskey to calm down, and then a bowl of stew I was preparing. The man calmed down and started thanking me. He said he really thought he was a dead man until he heard me calling my dog. He gathered last bits of his energy and walked towards the voice. When we finished eating, we decided to both go to bed. But I only had one bed, so we would have to share. No problem, we thought, because it was very cold, and our bodies would keep each other warm. Well, one thing led to another, and we started touching each other, then kissing, and then making love. In the morning, the weather cleared up, and after breakfast, the man put on his jacket, gathered his things, and said he had to go. His wife and 3 children were expecting him and must be mortified because he didn't come home. He then gave me the juiciest kiss on the cheeks and left. I watched him go and realized I didn't even ask his name. That was the last time I saw him. The TV crew looked at each other in shock, and after a few seconds, one of them said, "No, we meant, what is your secret for long and active life?" "Oh, that?" the man said. "Clean air, regular exercise, healthy food, no stress." So my 90-year-old neighbor is Alzheimer's, and every morning when I wake up, he's in a panic, knocking at my door, asking if I'd seen his wife, and every day I am forced to remind him that she has been dead for over 10 years. Honestly, I could just move. The house isn't too great, and I've had many opportunities to live in better places. But the look of pure joy on his face every time I tell him she's dead just makes my day and keeps me from leaving. My friends, if you want to watch other funny jokes, subscribe to the channel.